Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you've been doing well and hanging in there during these crazy pandemic times. I'm sorry it took me so long to post another video since my last one. I thought that, being stuck at home, I'd have a lot more time to film, but I've sort of found myself being really unmotivated lately and just trying to cope with, just being sheltered in place and all the sadness and stuff that's going on in the world. So I just wanted to say that if you're one of those people who also don't feel motivated, I think that's totally okay right now. If you're not baking up a storm and cooking up all these elaborate meals and exercising a ton and you just kind of need to be, I'm sort of feeling that way, and I just wanted to let you know that it's okay to not be motivated right now if that's what you need to do to kind of get through the pandemic. So, and I thought what I would do today is go through my most frequently asked questions about wear and tear on certain items. It's not really enough to do an individual video on each piece, so that is why I'm going to combine a few pieces together. What I will do is insert the timestamps in the description box below, so if there's an item you're really curious about, feel free to skip ahead. You don't need to watch the whole thing, and I will also insert some photos of wear and tear. For a lot of these pieces, it might be hard to see the wear and tear on video, but I'll try to take a picture and insert that so you can get a better idea of what I'm talking about. So the first thing I'm going to start with is my Prada wallet. And I'll link to this video where I have unboxed this, and you can see when I got it. I think it was a year and a half ago, maybe. My days are all kind of like blending in together. It's definitely more than a year old, and I've used it almost every single day. Basically, this is my everyday wallet, and then when I change into smaller bags for evenings out or dinners out, I will use a card holder. But this is pretty much my everyday wallet and has all the cards that I use. This is made out of Saffiano leather, and it's very, very sturdy. There are no issues with the leather at all. In fact, the leather I think has held up really, really well. Saffiano leather I find is very, very durable. Where you do find some wear and tear is definitely on the hardware. The A and the P especially, the gold part has just faded a little bit, and you can see this silver shining through a little bit. So if that doesn't show up on camera, I will insert a photo so you can see what I'm talking about. And then I wouldn't say there's pilling in the zipper right here, but it definitely does look a little bit more worn. And there's just a little bit of scratching and tarnishing on the zipper right here. It's really hard to see though, and this doesn't really bother me at all. This does bother me a tiny bit. I do wish the gold had stayed a little longer, but considering the fact that I've used this wallet almost every single day, it's not too surprising. If you are interested in any sort of pieces that have gold hardware, just be aware that over time that is something that could fade away or chip away. So for this, I think that's the only major wear and tear issue. The leather has been totally amazing and no issues, and it's even a little bit scratch resistant. You can run your nails over this and it's so sturdy. So there's that. This is the LV Zippy coin purse, and this is in the Damier Azur print, and it's held up really well in my opinion. I wouldn't say this is my everyday wallet, but it's sort of like a secondary wallet, so it's a little bit more compact than the other one, so I'll definitely change into this when I need to, but for the most part it just stores my everyday cards that I don't need on a regular basis. So it has like my Walgreens card, like that kind of thing, and I just kind of keep them in here for storage. And then when I do need this wallet, I'll either take it with me or I'll switch into it if I'm going to like a soccer game or a concert or something where I want some cards with me, but I didn't want to bring like my Chanel card case or something like that. So in terms of wear and tear, I think this has held up really well. The coloring still looks really good to me. It might be not as bright as when I first got it, but I don't really see any sort of yellowing with the whiteness. And the zipper has held up really well. There isn't really any pilling on the zipper here, and the only wear and tear that I've seen is just on the zipper part right here. There's just a tiny bit of tarnishing in this section, and I'll try to insert a photo, and a little bit of light scratching on the zipper pull handle, but the actual zipper part, it still is very smooth, and there haven't really been any issues here. Overall, I'm very, very happy with how this piece is held up, and I don't have any issues, so there is that. Moving on, I wanted to talk a little bit about iridescent pieces and iridescent wear and tear in particular, because the iridescentness is a little bit of like I think it's like a coating. It's similar to the gold on hardware and how it can kind of fade away. And I got a lot of questions about my iridescent bags. Luckily, I haven't really seen any significant wear and tear. but I will show you my card case. So you can see there isn't that much wear and tear. There's a very light scratching on the CCs, but anyone who has any Chanel pieces with these kind of CCs will know that's pretty inevitable, and you can't really get away from that unless you keep the sticker on. And there isn't any corner wear and tear. There might be a little bit of like darkness like right here, but for the most part it has held up very, very well, and I don't have any issues. But I did want to show you an example of iridescent wear and tear, and they're not designer bags, and so, you know, the quality might be a little bit different because they certainly weren't as expensive. And the other thing to note is that these two bags that I'm going to show you are much bigger, and so they're just going to bump into things more and therefore pick up some more wear and tear that way. But if you're curious about what wear and tear looks like, I can show you. I have this gold bag. It's a tote bag I got in Japan. It's not a brand name. It's not, I think it was like $40 or $50. So, you know, definitely not super cheap, but not anywhere near the designer price range. And I think it's held up really, really well. But do keep in mind, because it is a larger bag, it is going to bump into things more often, and it's just gonna show more wear and tear than a small leather good or a smaller bag. So the wear and tear, I don't know if this will pick up on camera, so I'll definitely insert a photo. On the handles here, the iridescentness has faded a little bit, especially in the edges. So the gold part you can see right here, but there's that is sort of rubbed off on the edge of the handle right here. And also on the corners too. There's a little bit of corner wear on each of the corners, and that's where the gold part has just rubbed off a little bit. So I don't really mind, because like I said, this was a very inexpensive bag, and it is a really good, comfortable carry, and it's just something that I've used a lot. So considering how often I've used it and how big of a bag it is, I'm not too upset by the wear and tear. But I just wanted to give you an idea of what wear and tear on specifically an iridescent or shiny metallic style bag would look like. And the second example I have is this Calpak, I think it's called the Luka bag, but I'll insert the actual name in the description box below. It is a carry-on piece, and what I really like about this bag is it has the sleeve for your luggage handle, which is really, really great. And I was really drawn to this metallic piece because I just thought it looked so shiny. It does kind of fall into that trend of the puffy quilted bags that you've seen lately. And I got this over Black Friday last year. I don't think it's currently available right now. It might be in other colors, but I'll definitely check and link that below if you're interested. Overall, I really, really like this bag. But the iridescent has definitely shown some wear and tear. So it's for this particular bag, it's most specifically at the bottom. And I don't know if you'll see, but I'll insert some photos. And this like little piping edge right here, a lot of the shiny metallicness has definitely faded away. And also on this side too. So right here and like right here. Especially this corner, you can see that this is becoming like a bigger spot. So I'll insert photos so you can see in a little bit more detail. So far the handles look good, which is kind of surprising considering that the handles would probably show a little bit more wear and tear since you're constantly picking up the bag. There's a little bit of like light wear in terms of like the metallic fading, but it's not anywhere near like the bottom part of the bag. So so that is just what I wanted to give you an idea of what wear and tear could look like. In terms of my iridescent Chanel Classic Flap, this hasn't really seen a lot of use because I got this bag in late September. I used it a handful of times and then it became fall and winter, and for me, this is more of a spring-summer bag. I haven't really used this bag that much in the wintertime, and now that we're in quarantine, I haven't really been able to use this bag, even though the weather has been a lot nicer. But so everything still looks really good, and there isn't really much to report in terms of wear and tear. If this was a bag I used a ton, almost every single day, I do think over time, the iridescent might fade and become kind of less noticeable, and the corners and the handle especially could pick up some wear and tear. But so far this bag looks really beautiful. I think a lot of that just has to do with the fact that this isn't an everyday bag for me and it's a lot smaller. The other metallic bags I have are much bigger in size and kind of just get you know, banged around a little bit more. So this, because it's pretty small, and I am a little bit more careful with this bag, especially with color transfer, and there isn't really any color transfer here. I did spray this bag with Carbon Pro, I think, before I used it, so it still looks really good on the back and there aren't any issues. And I wouldn't wear dark jeans with this bag. The few times I have worn this bag have been with like lighter color dresses, and I just think it looks so amazing. So so yeah, there isn't really much to report on wear and tear on this bag, but if there is, I'll definitely update you guys in the future. So just wanted to give you a heads up on that. Finally, the last bag I have to show you is my Chanel Classic Flap. This is definitely one of my older designer bags. I got this 7 years ago, and it's held up pretty well. I will say that there are a couple spots of wear and tear. So there are these like little tiny white spots. I don't know if you'll see. There's a tiny white spot here, and also one under the flap, right? Let me take this out. Right here as well. So let me just, right here too. I did try to buff this out with some leather conditioner, and it did work for the most part, but it didn't get everything off. And I stopped with the leather conditioner once I saw that it was starting to pick up a little bit of the black dye, and that kind of freaked me out a little bit because I didn't want any of the dye to rub off. So I did stop that, and it's not too noticeable, so it doesn't bother me too much, especially this one because it's on the inside of the bag, and this luckily is on the back side of the bag, so it's very hard to tell unless you're looking close up. So but it is kind of unfortunate that these white spots have shown up. I don't really know what that is. It's definitely not mold, but I don't really know what it is, and it's just stuck in the tiny little grooves of the Caviar, so it's not on the top. It's like it's right in the inner part of the grains, which is why it's so hard to kind of get out. So I would say with wear and tear on this is the only issues. The hardware still looks really good. There hasn't been any chipping or fading of the gold, and everything else looks really good. And the structure is, I would say, it's still in really good shape. So there is this. All right, guys, that's all I have. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys are hanging in there. Let me know what you're doing to cope during this time, and I hope you guys are doing well. Please stay safe and sane and healthy. Please like this video if you found it helpful, and please consider subscribing to my channel. It would really mean the world to me. So have a great one, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.